revolutionary mind, Alias. So with time, I don't really let go, cause my people pay a hella heavy toll. The tentacles of Babylon have
Good morning, boys and girls, friends and lovers, children of all ages. My name is Brian Loma. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, at Cut The Plastic. And today, I am talking craft passion mask making. Last week, I learned how to start making masks. Many of you, like myself, are furloughed. You might be living in a state where you're being instructed to wear a mask when you go out into public. And if you want a mask, I am making them for sale. You can reach me at cuttheplastic at Gmail, Venmo, Cash App, all that jazz. But I'm going to walk you through this because I think that if you can learn it and you can do it in your community, then you should. And this is the face mask pattern by craftpassion.com. And basically I wanted to just kind of go through some steps and some tricks that I've learned. I want to share this with my Denver mask task force, who's in the process of making 8,000 masks for medical frontline workers and more. The mask pattern that we're going to do today is going to have something that goes around your neck that you can put over your face. And using this paracord, you can tie the mask up like this. Now, the reasons that we're using some very specific and intentional materials is that we want these things to stop things like viruses from being able to enter your nose and your mouth. And so I have chosen to go with the Craft Passion mask pattern because there's some key aspects to it. The first aspect is that it covers your nose. It has a lining, and they're recommending the use of 100% cotton for at least one side. That helps to catch the materials. The mask pattern that we're using also includes a filter that goes inside the mask and has a fourth layer, basically. A third, fourth layer, however you want to put it. The reason I say that, and I'm going to cover these things in my quick video here, because we've already done one on how to sew them and how to put a copper wire in the mask, and you can find that on my channel at Cut The Plastic. But I'm not doing wire masks for all of them, okay? That one has copper in it. That one does not. And the difference is you have to serge a line and create a pocket, insert it, and then serge it closed. To show you what we're going to use for the copper, basically, I'm using some stripped copper wire that I, as a recycler, have collected over the years. These are 5-inch pieces that are folded in half and then twisted together. I snip or bend over the ends so they don't try to poke out. That's my goal, is to keep them from poking out in the wash. So, like Henry Ford, what I've learned is to mass produce in bulk. So I've got 20, 30 of these. When I do my sewing, and I want to show you this trick, I learned from one of my followers and subscribers on YouTube. First, you'll see my setup here is definitely a messy setup. But what we're doing is we're mass producing our efforts. So you'll see my sewing machine has a piece of material in it. And this is from a t-shirt bag that I've used to cut up, and you can see in the light these filters. So what I've done is I've started sewing them, and when you make this, you'll learn that everything should have an inseam where it's folded over so that you have no frayed edges on the outside. So I've already done that with these materials that I've piled here, and what I'm going to do now is fold this filter in half so that once it has an open, basically we're making a bag, okay? And we're going to do one continuous stitch for the entirety of this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half, and since it already has a seam line, I'm going to put that under the machine. And this is going to take a moment. What we're doing is we're creating a solid stitch on this. We're going to go to the edge of it, leave that needle down, turn your fabric. Get each corner. Whoop. Now this is the thing I'm going to tell you I'm learning to do for mass production. For mass production, we don't want to slow up this thread sewing process. So we grab the next piece of material that's been pre-sewn with that opening, and again this one has a folded seam. I'm just going to lift it and put the next piece of fabric in there. What this does is it eliminates waste. The bobber and the thread that are coming off the top, they're going to have a continuous flow. And I made a mistake and I sewed the wrong side on that to start it the way I wanted to easily. So we'll just do the next one, right? One stitch at a time, or one continuous stitch. The idea is that you let the machine do the work. You follow the examples of Henry Ford, and when your bobber runs empty, you start over. The other thing that I want to show you, and this should generally be done outside, but these face masks have paracord on them. And it's ingenious because everybody's running out of elastic, but also because the paracord is 7 stitches woven. And if you tie the ends like you would a hoodie, they will not become unraveled. Now, a lot of people don't know how to use paracord to get the tips right. And so I'm going to teach that real quick. And this really should be done outside in an open air, ventilated environment. But I'm just a little tied up right now. I have a ventilated environment in my house. So what I've done is I've cut this piece already and I've melted it. And I'm going to go ahead and tie it. Now what I'm using is a 48-inch piece of cord. That is my model piece. And I come up and I want you to see that we're going to fold this. Now if you have duct tape, the best thing to do is to wrap electrical tape around this where you're going to do it. And then you fold it in half. And you got to use a really, really sharp scissors. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to pull these cords apart or fray them. And so we're going to make a good strong cut there. And you see how it's even. It started to pull a little bit. That's where the tape comes in, okay? Now I'm going to turn on my torch here. I'm using a silicone pad often used for cannabis consumption. But we're just going to lightly melt and roll the tip. And I want to advise that you don't touch it right away because it's hot and it'll burn your fingers. But that's what it'll look like. And you can top it off a little bit and press it down on there to make sure that's melted well. Don't forget to do the piece that you just cut off as well, because what will happen, as you can see, is those cords will start to expose and fray, and it'll make it worse. Now, again, roll, and everybody wants to touch that, and I'm just going to tell you, you're going to burn your fingers if you touch it. And I try to keep my gas on low, but not on too long, so I only try to do a couple of these at a time. But you should do it outdoors because that's where it's well ventilated. And again, always just tie it off real quick. So that both ends and the one that you have off your cord, you have a string. Now we're going to come back over here to some of these that are unstrung. And if you're using the Craft Passion face mask pattern, what I want you to do is modify it just a little bit for paracord. You want to give yourself 1/4 to 1/2 inch of extra fabric. And the reason that we want to do that is so that we're using a hole. Let me show you one that I've done. So this is the Craft Passion pattern, and the hole isn't, sometimes it can get a little tight when you're folding everything over doing those inseams. By adding just a little bit extra to that pattern, what we're going to do is that we've lost our string that we just made. Too many masks. Anyway, what we're going to do is with that wider mouth, it allows that knotted end to fit through the hole. Slide through very easily. And again, that'll work for both sides. And just for ease of it, I'm going to do this again with a blue one that I haven't gotten around to fixing yet. I'll show you that you can either slip in or just tie it off one end, right? Run it through. And run it up. Ties on. And again, this is the one that I just threaded in front of you. Put that around your head. Grab the loose ends of the string. And bow tie it to the back of your head. This has no copper wire in it, and it's going to stay secure to your face. Okay? So that's my quick video. The other nice thing about this with these tied ends then is you just pull them apart to take your mask off. When you want to wash your mask, which I suggest is every day or two, depending on how often you use it, you just tie the strings together, throw it in the washing machine with your laundry, and there you have a DIY Craft Passion mask with paracord and an extension on that gives those holes, the paracord, an ease to thread it. Thank you for joining me. Have a great day. And don't forget to find this and more at Cut the Plastic. Just Google it.